Joe, I
Yeah.
know we've got some stories to tell from our Discord, which is going to be a good thing to do. And I'm going to look up some of the things that you can do on Patreon as feedback, and I'm going to go pull some of that feedback.
Alrighty. Yeah, so over on our Discord, couple episodes back, we were talking about our proposal stories. And so CaseyJ popped in, wasn't able to get around to recording SpeakPipe, but left his stories in Discord. And so I'm going to read those off there. So the first one proposal story a friend told me. They had been together for a few years and accidentally got pregnant. So she knew a proposal was coming. He set it up perfect. They had an amazing romantic picnic. It was coming to a close and no ring. She started to look for it and got more and more desperate, even searching his pockets looking for a ring. In tears, realizing he didn't have one, she asks him for a tissue. He passes her a tissue box. She pulls the first tissue out, and tied on the end is the ring.
Incredible.
That's that's kind of mean. That's kind of mean.
Yeah.
You made sure she cried so that you could pull that out. That's rough.
Yep. But at least it wasn't like in the Jello and she ate it. You know. So the next one, it looks like it's his parents. Okay, so Casey's parents. My parents were staying in separate rooms at my uncle's place. My dad burst into my mom's room and said, "Will you marry me?" My mom said, "Oh, Barry, I expected something a little bit more romantic than that." About 20 minutes later, he burst back in, grabbed her hand, dragged her out into the backyard, pointed at the moon, and goes, "It's a full moon. Now will you marry me?"
And obviously, that was a yes. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the story to be told.
That's right.
That's still better than you and Kurt's stories.
And then we have Casey's story. His own story says, when we were dating, my wife told me she didn't want to get married till after she was 21. A few years later, when her 21st came around, she and her mother went away around Europe. On her actual 21st, she went to the Eiffel Tower. Thank God the French love Aussies. She got offered a free ride to the top of the tower and given a bottle of champagne. While she was away, I paid off the ring, got her father's permission, and planned out my proposal. When she arrived home, I told her because we couldn't celebrate her 21st together, I'd like to take her out for a day. I took her into Sydney Harbor, and we had a very fancy breakfast not far from the Opera House. And then they had second breakfast because, you know, that's the part of the world they're in. Afterwards, pretending like I didn't have a plan, I asked if we could go for a walk across the Sydney Harbor Bridge. On the opposite side of the bridge is Luna Park, the oldest theme park in Australia. Surprise, I already have tickets. My plan was that we would go on a few rides and eventually hop on, and I'd propose at the top. Of course, the first ride she wants to go on is the Ferris wheel. So I lie and exaggerate my fear of heights, and I have no idea how thalassophobia, which apparently is the fear of going over water, I'm guessing, since he said it goes out over the water, and say I need to build it up. We then proceed to go on every single ride. The whole time I've got this ring in my back pocket with sharp edges digging into me. It hurt a lot. Eventually, hours later, we end up getting in line for the Ferris wheel. She can see I'm nervous and thinks it's the acrophobia, thalassophobia. By the time we get on, she decides best tactic is to talk to me the whole time and keep me distracted. So we go around a couple of times and I can't get her to stop talking. Eventually, at the top, I just slide forward onto one knee and open up the ring box and ask her if she'll marry me. To which I'm greeted with a chuckle. I've gone and opened the box upside down.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, Afterwards, we went to the IMAX cinema, which was the biggest movie screen in the Southern Hemisphere, and saw Jurassic World in 3D. And I bought my pirate-obsessed father-in-law a bottle of rum in a bottle shaped like a musket pistol, which he cracked open when my first child was born.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Is that because he shot a shot and landed the girl?
Something like that.
Wow, you guys tell dog jokes like, oh, move on. And I on the spot, musket, baby, shut you.
I was muted, Charles. I'm sorry. You just didn't hear the laughter, but it was there.
Casey, those are great stories. And we love them.
It's okay. We were all laughing on the inside, Charles.
Get out of here, Joe. No, get out of here. So we've got a couple of comments on our episodes over on Patreon, and from both of the two I picked are both from last week's or 2 weeks, whatever, movies that couldn't be made today and Dragon Con Tales. So John says Joe is only 25 seconds late, and the joke there was Joe actually got into the series before I did, and I jumped in. I put myself live as I'm recording that because I usually record the Patreon stuff. So I've already talked to the podcast or the patrons, and make it out to where Joe's late all the time, which he's usually behind me because I have nothing better to do than go record and talk to myself. But
usually he was about 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, but yeah, he was literally first. But because I'm fast with the button and fast with the words, he still showed up late on the show. So I love that. And then Devo's site for the same show. This is Dragon Con Tales. Thanks for dragging out the podcast, and I appreciate you making me read a bad dad joke in the return of the commentary. So, boom.